Mom, I'm going to cross the Atlantic with a rowing boat. I laughed. I thought it was a joke.
He said to us, oh, I've met someone who's interested in rowing across the Atlantic. I'd like to do it.
Literally, out of the sky, he gets a phone call from Omar Samra, who tells him, hey, how about we row an ocean together?
Two guys who really have no idea what rowing is about, going across the Atlantic together.
The idea seemed so crazy to me that I did not take it seriously to begin with, because I thought the idea will fade away, but it didn't.
We were at a conflict between potential drama occurring and trying to be supportive for the cause that he was standing for.
In the back of my head, I just kind of wrote him off straight away. I was like, there's no way this is actually gonna ever happen.
And then I started kind of thinking about the logistics of it all. You don't row.
The seas are relentless, and the open water is relentless. It doesn't forgive. It doesn't let people pass easy. It's Mother Nature.
He's climbed the highest mountain in the world. He's done 7 summits. He's went to both poles. These are very big achievements and very big adventures. I think this looked like a very reasonable next challenge to go.
There are actually more people that have gone to space than have rowed across an ocean. I'm Omar Nour. I'm the first ever Egyptian professional triathlete.
My name is Omar Samra, also Egyptian. I am the first Egyptian to climb Mount Everest. We were obviously, rowing the Atlantic because it was a challenge that we wanted to raise awareness about the plight of refugees crossing dangerous seas. We knew that crossing an Atlantic could in some ways be similar to that. What we didn't know is how close our stories would become during those 8 days at sea. My story begins 29,000 feet up in the air. I was on a plane heading to the United States, and I remember looking to my right and just seeing this vast ocean below me. There was nobody that I knew at the time that I would want to do this with or would take the time or had the ability to do something like that.
I didn't know much about his character, but he said something to me. He said, look, Omar, I have an idea, and I want to come discuss it with you. I said, all right, come on by. He came. Within 2 hours, he said to me, look, we're going to do this, I want to do this thing. I want to row across the Atlantic.
So we decided to do it. We decided that we were going to row unsupported for 3,000 nautical miles across the Atlantic Ocean.
Omar, enough. I'm getting old and I just can't have all this heart palpitations and this experience anymore. He said, what do you think? I said, why? I mean, your domain is the mountains. Why you are crossing the Atlantic?
Very quickly, we realized that we were completely unprepared for this. We had, no experience. There was so much to learn over, a number of months.
If you think about it, it's probably not the most logical thing to have people that have never been in the ocean. They don't know anything about navigation. They don't know anything about boating. They don't know anything. There's so many things wrong in that picture.
I remember they went over to the UK to do a practice row, and they had to get rescued because of bad conditions. So I was thinking, oh, they're not as well prepared as they think they may be, or as good as they think they may be. And then when they went to La Gomera to do another practice row, I believe they were going to row around the whole island, and they went out and they had to turn around and come back because of bad conditions. I was like, oh my gosh, they can't even get around La Gomera. How are they going to row across the Atlantic?
It's been many years in the making, and for over the past year, we've been preparing and training ourselves for what is going to be the greatest adventure of our lives.
I did a lot of my training in the Nile, which is a completely different animal. Omar came one time over to Cairo, and that was the first time he, held oars. He'd been training on a machine in the gym. We were very committed, we were very focused. I would say that we put in more training time than most teams, and over a number of months, we accomplished a lot. Omar and I have very different personalities.
Next time we see each other,
We'll be back here.
we're gonna be going
rowing, just basically.
a lot of rowing.
He's much more of an extrovert, I'm more introverted. And if you meet Omar in a social situation, Omar doesn't stop talking. And so one of the things that concerned me from the beginning was, how am I going to deal with this guy for 2 months, just me and him and the ocean? And surprisingly, that was never a problem, because even in the ocean, I think I spoke more than Omar on the actual trip.
Omar and I had amazing conversations where we sat down and played the what-if game. And I think that's really important when preparing for something like this. What happens if you get injured? What happens if I'm weak? What happens if I have this issue or that issue? What do we do? Well, hello everybody. It's been a really long journey, I didn't realize how far the Canaries are, and we're finally here.
My name's Nikki Holter. I'm the event coordinator for the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge. We have a race village. All the rowers are asked to arrive 12 days before race start. And in that 12 days, there's a lot of checks, a lot of equipment checks, a lot of safety checks, a lot of extra training, crisis operations, meetings. The rowers getting to know us so they know that they can trust us whilst they're on the ocean.
Once we get the Ziploc bags, we'll take care of the food. And then, I don't know when they're going to figure out your incident thing, and we can pack that.
They're supposed to do it today.
We pack that extra hatch.
Yeah, perfect.
We're actually pretty close.
We are.
We spent hours every day working on our boats, getting everything right, putting everything together, making sure that we knew how everything worked, how if anything broke down, we knew how to fix it. And the sense of excitement and nerves, prior to leaving was intense, and just kept kind of, escalating until it reached that crescendo just before we left.
See, if you're out there, if you look just beyond the harbor, you can see the white tips on the waves. Yeah, I mean, that's usually kind of not a good sign when the waves are sort of breaking like that at mid-sea.
Some say it's actually a good naivety to not know what's coming. Often those that are sailors already that have done a transatlantic passage feel that it's too much to take on.
All I can say about this experience is it will find your weakness. If you are not prepared, if you don't have knowledge, if you have a physical, emotional issue, anything that you think it's not a big deal, it won't matter. It will itch and itch and itch until it becomes raw. And you will be forced to deal with it head on.
There isn't anything else that's like this. There's nothing that tests you for this amount of time continuously in an environment that's so unpredictable.
I am thrilled and pleased to announce that we have a race start at 11 o'clock for the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic 2017.
I still remember that moment when we were still on the pontoon, and they said something like,
2 minutes.
Thanks everyone for following. It's going to be a great journey. We're going to keep you posted.
Everybody got on the boat, and this was it, because 10 minutes before they had told everybody to clear the pontoon.
I've never been part of a race where it takes 2 hours for me to actually start. My races are ferocious. You come out all out. Your heart is in your throat. No more. I love you. I think I went and hugged my brother like 6 times, and my girlfriend for 5 times. I was just so easy about it all. I love you so much, baby. Be safe. I promise I'll be safe. I promise you. On one side, but on the other side, it just built, right? And you could feel that pressure build. Wrapping your head around the magnitude of it was very difficult.
Team O2, we've got so much love coming in via Facebook Live.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of love.
We're going to send a lot of love back.
And I remember a camera coming at me and saying, "Your mom is watching." And at that point, I was like, "Come back here. I need to talk to my mom."
Mom is watching? Come over here. Mom's watching your feed.
Oh, is she? Mama's watching.
Hey, Mommy.
Hey.
See you soon.
Is she the one pressing your
Say hi to Mom. What's wrong with you? Hi, Batata. Yes, we're about to go. We're about to go. Don't worry about a thing. We got this under control. Omar here knows what he's doing. I think I know what I'm doing. We're good to go. And even Omar gave a couple words like, don't worry, I'll take care of him.
أنا هخلي بالي منه وكلمي مامتي لو عندك أي مشكلة.
And I remember that was a very emotional time. I didn't romanticize it too much, although no matter how much you think you understand, nothing will compare to the real thing. You must go through it in order to truly understand.
Given the Omar's background of professional triathlete and extreme adventurer, they were the same as anybody else going in. They were quite aware of the fact they had no maritime experience and they were ready to learn. They weren't, you know, they knew that this wasn't their background and this wasn't their speciality, and they were just part of the rest of the fleet. They started where everybody else did.
We get the signal to set sail, to leave the port, and as we're going around the bend and for the first time stare into the openness of the sea, there's people on the sides waving. The land starts to fade. The experience just becomes inward. It becomes just very clear that this is now just about us. My whole world has now become this 7-meter by 2-meter boat, and it will be for the next, few weeks.
Some people say that it's hard work to row an ocean. I think it's really relaxing. When you have Spider-Man as your teammate. It's awesome. Yep. As soon as we went out there, Omar started to feel ill.
The first 24 hours were, maybe the worst 24 hours of my life. I puked about 8 times, violently seasick.
We were hoping it wouldn't happen, both because it's a very uncomfortable situation for Omar, but also as a team, we would like to progress, and we're setting out to do something amazing, and I want to break records.
It's brutal again. Jesus. Trying to chew this seasickness tablet.
It's our first storm. Close quarters, isn't it? Omar is rocking it over here, but that noise is gonna get old for sure.
After the first 24 hours, became severely hydrated, very malnourished, feeling queasy all the time, can't eat anything. In fact, we didn't eat a solid meal for 8 days. And then very quickly, just things started to compound. It just kept getting worse. The violent part of my seasickness kind of started to subside a little bit. I was very depleted because of all the vomiting. Omar had to pick up a couple of shifts.
I think my longest shift was 7 hours on the oars nonstop. I prepared my body for that, and I prepared my mind for that. I knew that it's in the tank, and I know how to do something like that. Needless to say that the first few days were absolutely exhausting for me because of these long shifts. I was a bit frustrated. I was frustrated at the fact that I was working so hard, but we were also falling behind other 2-man boats. Our strategy was to go further south than everybody else to capture some weather. Around the 4th day, I already had a nickname for the ocean. The ocean's name was Tito. He was an angry ocean sometimes. We had our boat named Jan. So when I went out there, I had a little conversation with everybody. All right, Tito. All right, Jan. Let's all play nice. Give me something good. Give me some good progress on this one. Tito, try not to make me too wet.
And then finally, the conditions get better. Waves get bigger, wind gets stronger, and now we're moving finally. The monotony and the realization of this is it. This is our lives now for the next few weeks started to settle in, and there's no respite. There is no new day. Every today merges into tomorrow, to the day after. And if you're not sitting there and using your marker and putting these little sticks to count the number of days, you have no idea what day it is.
But the part that you cannot prepare for is the beautiful ocean. When it soaks you all the time. I have to say that in the midst of all these frustration, there were some pretty epic moments.
We would have the most amazing sunrises and sunsets. There's nothing to obstruct your view when you're in the ocean. Every day you see the sunrise, every day you see the sunset, and it's beautiful. And after a while, we just lost the sense of time, and we were, we got into a mode where, we're on a mission. And at no point in time did I feel that we're not going to make this. I knew that it was going to be difficult. I knew that it was just going to be miserable. But we were going to get this done. We were going to get to the other side. And we would talk about this for the rest of our life. How we spent those 30, 40 miserable days and endured all of that to get to the other side of the ocean, this extraordinary thing that very, very few people do.
The most important thing that people need to work on, to train for, and to psychologically prepare ready is to be real, is to have a plan A, B, C, D, and E, is to manage their expectations that really very often the first thing isn't going to go as planned. It's going to take a couple of different angles to work at any problem that's going to happen. They are going to have to think outside the box. They have to think in simplistic survival ways to get themselves to the other side.
Bunch from our pockets.
Being in the cabin was just like hell. My sheet was wet, the towel was drenched. Every little thing is just soaked. People talk about, how people hate wet socks. This was like, living in a wet sock. And no matter if the sun came up and you dried for a few minutes, a wave would come and it would drench you to the bone.
You are constantly wet, and you're sitting and you're grinding. You're grinding nicely that wetness and that saltiness. So when you do these really long sessions, the 7-hour sessions, these got me into trouble very quickly with some of the issues in my behind, because you're sitting for 7 hours and you're not taking care of your hygiene. You can't stop to do that. The new normal is here, and your body, your mind, your brain, everything is trying to cling on to the old normal. And the way down, all the way down, it's fighting you, and it's an extremely painful experience. So waking up, when that alarm wakes up, you're confused. You don't know what's going on. Am I in bed? No, I'm not in bed. What is this? I'm on a boat. Okay, is this training? This must be training. No, it's the race. And it all sinks in. You have 20 minutes to get on the oars. It's nighttime. Your shoes are outside, they're wet. You just finished sleeping on a wet sheet and a wet t-shirt for a pillow. Everything hurts, and it's horrendous. And the last thing you want to do is to get out of that cabin and row.
The worst times were when I would wake up and think I'm home, in bed, and then after 4 or 5 seconds, I would actually realize where I am, and that was just the worst feeling in the world.
Omar really had to muster up all his strength and start to row. And as he started to row, he started to feel better.
And they all say that the first 10 days are the hardest. 8 days had passed, and we started not to feel better, but it wasn't getting any worse. And we knew that the worst was behind us. As soon as we started to move, only hours after, we realized that we're having another issue. The batteries are not charging up fast enough.
It's a big issue because the batteries power a lot of key components, one of which is desalination of water.
It means not making enough water. And we're supposed to make something like 15 to 20 liters of water a day. Within a few days, we went down to 3 liters a day. So when you drink 3 liters a day and you're rowing 12 hours a day, that's not much water at all.
Another one is our autopilot. So you can steer the boat with an autopilot, but you can also hand steer it. Hand steering, you go like this. Steering with an autopilot, you go like that.
So December 22nd will be etched in all of our heads for many a year.
Because we had to cut down our electricity and try to let the batteries fill up, we had very little water on the final day. I was in a bad place that night.
I was taking the shift that was 6 to 8 in the morning, which is the last shift of the night time. And it was a particularly cold shift. I remember it was the only time that half an hour before my shift ended, I had the very strong thought of knocking the door behind me and telling Omar, listen, I'm gonna jump in with you because it's just really cold. I was shivering.
So my alarm rings, I wake up, it's 7:40, and I'm having a tough time mobilizing. I'm sort of sitting up and I'm like, you know, I don't want it.
10 minutes before the shift, I knocked on the door saying to Omar,
10 minutes and has to get an acknowledgement. You don't want to be late.
And then I just remember taking a big wave.
I just felt the boat rise, rise, rise.
Surfing down that wave and then somehow being hit from the back.
And exactly at the apex of the wave, we just felt a smack.
The boat started to turn, but it started to turn beyond 90 degrees. And once it started turning beyond 90 degrees, I knew that we're gonna capsize.
We've experienced several times when a big wave would come up, and then a faster wave that's breaking comes from behind and hits Jen right in the back. Little did I know that we were essentially airborne, and that the front of the boat nosedived. When we hit that water, it was exactly as if I had driven a car into a wall.
8-meter waves, howling like 40-knot winds, and it's just terrifying. The sound is extremely loud. And then all of a sudden, I'm underwater. Everything is blue, sound is muffled. I'm wearing a harness, and that harness is attached to the boat, on a line on the boat.
I got hit, propelled back into the ceiling, and I hold my hands, and I start to shuffle sideways. I'm shuffling. Now I'm on the side of the boat. Now I'm on the ceiling of the boat. All the cushions fall on my head. Everything is beeping. It's complete chaos.
We always knew that that was a possibility to capsize. Everybody said that the R20 has never capsized, that the R20 is built for these conditions, and so on. But we ended up capsizing.
First thought is, no, not like this, not like this.
The first thought that I had after I popped out and I realized that we'd capsized, we're in this storm, is what's going on with Omar.
I'm upside down. 2/3 of my window is underwater, and there's a sliver that's over water. And I stick my head right up to it, and I want to see, is Omar okay? Is he alive? I'm worried. Did his harness break? And I was so elated to just see him out there. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, we have a lot of time. We have so much time. Relax. He can't hear me. Things out there is chaos. It's 7-8 meter waves crashing. Things are going all over the place. Our belongings are floating away. The oars are hitting the boat. There is rope everywhere. It is chaos. The second thought was, what have you just done to your family? An immense feeling of guilt. Why?
And I had these thoughts very quickly through my head, thinking like, what would I tell his family? And then immediately thinking about, well, if Omar doesn't survive, then my chances of making this on my own is absolutely zero.
Finally, he looks at me and he's like, I'm okay. And I notice that he's just rocking on the boat. And you can see the entire boat is trying to self-right. So at this moment, I'm still thinking, the race is on. This is not survival. This is rectifying what went wrong and continuing on our path.
Because if we could self-right the boat, we would get back on there and we would be a bit shaken up, but we would, solve this and we would get back and continue the race.
I started to do the same thing on the inside. And I'm basically walking and trying to muscle the boat, and I'm talking to Jen. I'm saying, come on, Jen. Come on, you can do it, come on. And as Omar is saying, and there's a moment there where you can see the boat is at the tipping point. It's there, it's about to do it. It just goes back, it goes back. This is when I hear water. Water rushing. This is a cabin that's supposed to be sealed, airtight. Where's the water coming from?
Eventually, I make out one of the things that Omar is saying, and he's saying,
"Vent! Vent! Omar, the vent!"
Everything was just confusing, and I remember thinking that, you know, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but then thinking, well, the boat is upside down, so maybe it's righty-loosey, lefty-tighty, and
poof, the vent gets out in his hands. As soon as that happens, water starts to flow in. We're not talking about a trickle anymore. We're talking about water hitting my chest in. I realized that there was a definite possibility of death when I saw that vent slowly float down into the abyss.
that was a pretty alarming thing, because that's the thing that keeps the integrity of the boat intact.
Omar is like, "Get out, get out, get out." And I'm like, "Omar, relax. I have to get ready. I have to get ready. We have time. Let the water go up. Let the water go up. I'm not gonna fight the vacuum, and let me get ready to survive."
Once that had happened, I knew that the race was over. But we would still make it because we had the life raft.
Now, I want you to understand something. At this point, I am still believing that we're going to self-right the boat and we're gonna continue this competition. We're gonna need to do it from the life raft, but it's doable.
So now that there is no more race for us, the goal is to get into the life raft.
I need to find my harness, because the harness is what connects you to the boat. When you're in waves this big, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are. If you get separated, this is almost a certain death. So the harness is my lifeline, 1. 2, the harness has my beacon, my personal beacon. And I know how my brother thinks. And at that point, I wanted to make sure that we deployed 3 beacons. My beacon, Omar's beacon, and the boat's beacon. Because if the boat's beacon deployed with only 1 other beacon, I know my brother. I know what he's gonna think. He's gonna say, one of them is gone. I grabbed everything that I could, but I couldn't find the things that really mattered.
And of course, because everything was happening underwater, I didn't see him actually swim out. But he comes out underwater, he looks fine, but he's not tied to anything.
I look at him, and I'm like, "You okay?" And we're finally talking. We're able to talk to each other. And I'm grasping that boat. It's my lifeline. And I see that the life raft is just floating outside, and it's not inflated.
We both started to fiddle with it, and then the next thing you know, Omar yanks at the cord, and it starts to inflate. And the first feeling that I get is like, finally, this is gonna work. And this thing is meant to inflate in about 20, 25 seconds, very, very powerfully. But what it does is just goes like, and just stops. And it inflated about 10 to 15%. And so for the first few seconds, we just kind of wait for it. Okay, something's gonna happen. You start yanking at the cord again, nothing's happening. This life raft looks like a kiddie pool filled with water in the middle of the Atlantic with 8-meter waves and this gale force storm. It was probably the first time that I realized we could die here.
So I look at that thing, and I look at Omar. This is not gonna add up. Like, something is gonna have to change. And you know, this is something that I believe in life, in business, in our situation, in any situation that is huge. You may not see the final solution. I sure did not see the final solution. So the key is to continuously try to better our situation. A tiny little bit could save our lives.
As the stronger swimmer of the two of us, he was ferrying between the raft and the boat, pulling things that we thought were essential for our survival. The first thing he pulled out was the life jacket, 2 of them, which we put on and did not inflate, but was there just in case we needed it.
We're getting pretty cold. We're starting to shiver a little bit. It's a very stressful situation, and I realized pretty quickly that our entire bodies are basically underwater, and we're not gonna last very long, right? The water temperature is about 18 degrees Celsius. Yeah, you can hang out in that kind of water for an hour or 2 and not be too bothered, but a day? 12 hours? No, I think you're probably gonna die.
Each rower has to have a personal locator beacon, shortened to PLB, that is attached to their life jackets or their harnesses, depending on where they prefer to have it. And each vessel must have an EPUB, which is the same, but just same as the PLB, but for the vessel.
We activated the EPUB, and we could see that it was blinking. But I personally had no confidence whether it was working or not.
I take Omar's PLB that's on his harness. I take that out. I deploy that. I pull it out. I deploy everything I can possibly deploy. One of the things that I had picked up from the rear hatch was our grab bag. And the grab bag is a bag that you're supposed to grab in case of an emergency. It should have some water. It has some basic survival tools. And one of the things it has is a spare PLB. So when I couldn't find my harness with my personal beacon, I said to myself, it's okay. When you get the grab bag, you deploy that one. So I grabbed the grab bag, found the PLB, boom, deploy it. And I said, Omar, this is our lifeline. If this thing floats away, rescue operations will be looking for this, not us. You don't really have an idea whether it worked or not. I later found out it didn't.
We weren't doing very much, so we started asking, what can we do? Well, let's look at what we have. And then we realized that there is a bag that is attached to the raft.
It literally is the best bag in the world because that bag has a plethora of items. And we just start to go through it, and boom, we find a pump.
Omar puts the end of the pump into the valve, but it doesn't fit.
Why would they give us a pump that doesn't fit? Boom!
We're frantically looking in this bag, and then we find this little piece of plastic.
Now, I'm pumping while floating on my back and trying to keep the pump out of the water because you don't want to, obviously, to be sucking water in and pumping it with water. And every once in a while, a big wave hits and water kicks in.
I know Omar does very well with positive reinforcements, so I'm trying to say, like, well, it's working. I can see it was, which actually was. The raft was inflating a little bit, and then we get hit by a wave. Everything kind of fumbles, and that little connector piece is gone. Without the raft, there's absolutely zero chance of survival. And without that little plastic piece, we have no chance.
Where is the adapter? Like complete and utter chaos at that point. And we're just rushing through water and everything is splashing.
As I'm saying this, we see this little plastic piece just like floating.
And I just, boom, put it back on. And we pump it, and it's 3 chambers. So it takes a while. It takes a while to pump these things, but now finally the chambers are up. We go in, things are looking on the up and up. We're comfortable, well, comfortable. We're more comfortable than we were in the water.
And this kind of underscores the entire rescue. It was just this roller coaster of emotion the whole time.
Boom, Omar gets like a full body cramp.
For the next few minutes, forget about me. I'm gonna be useless.
So he has to lay down. And so I pick up the drogue and I tell him, look, I'm gonna keep on talking. I'm going to keep on talking to you because Omar was like, look, unless I close my eyes, I'm not recovering.
That day was one of the examples of how 12 hours can be the longest and the shortest 12 hours of your life. They were the longest, most frightening, unsure hours.
I have a call. Hi, this is Nikki from Atlantic Campaigns. We have a situation with Team 02 we need to discuss with you. Do you have time? So she literally very formally says, Dia, I need to tell you that there's been a situation with Team 02. 2 out of their 3 emergency beacons have been set off. We have also not been able to track them on our GPS tracker. We've called their primary and secondary sat phones, and they cannot be reached. Go ahead.
I opened my laptop to see the latest update. And I found that all the boats have changed their numbers, except for 02.
So every 4 hours, there is a transmission from a tracking beacon that's on board each vessel. It's a satellite tracker. The 0400 beacon transmission didn't happen. The 0800 one then didn't transmit either.
So the morning of December 22nd, Mohammed came in and told me that Omar's locator beacon hadn't gone off. My first thought was that it's a power problem. They've been having power problems. It's nothing, there's lots of electrical equipment on the boats and they're known to not function properly, so I wasn't very worried.
It was at this point that the support yachts were alerted. They were at the back of the fleet, but just to start making their way towards that area where they were. And then it was 09:30 when we got the call from the Coast Guard to say that one of the emergency beacons on the vessel had been set off.
I started to be extremely worried and very anxious, and I didn't know what to do. I just found myself calling his name loud. Omar, where are you? Till this very day, it hurts remembering the feeling.
Omar Nour's mom was really, really very worried, even more than me. But we were supporting each other and just comforting each other that we, inshallah, we are sure that we're gonna have a rescue operation to bring them safe to us.
If my nephew, who I know is fearless and determined and rises to any challenge, if he's in the middle of the ocean and he's sending off a distress signal, then I know something is the matter. And this is when I got emotional and was crying and worried about him the most.
When the personal locator beacon went off, there was, okay, this is serious. I know that neither of those men on board that boat would have pulled it because they were scared. I knew they had the metal to do it. There was a problem on board.
Why are they not being able to track him? That's not a power issue because that has its own battery powered. The tracking is not on the central power of the boat, so that shouldn't happen. Why were only 2 out of the emergency 3 beacons set off? There are 3 of them. One is at the boat, one is on Omar Samra, one is on Omar Nour. Why 2?
I don't know what happened to me. I just wanted to believe it is a power issue and everything is okay. And I blocked. I was in a state of total denial. No matter what I hear, no, it's a power issue. And this kept me alive that day. Otherwise, I don't know what would happen to me.
I was praying. I was praying God for their safety. I couldn't help anything because I'm very far. I had a strong belief that they are Omar and Omar too will help each other to get it through. They are one body and they really big support to each other.
And I asked Nikki, do you know which 2 emergency beacons were set off? Because that will help me with my scenarios. And she said the boat and a personal one.
And at that situation, I felt there is a possibility that we lost one of our boys.
As all of this was going through our head, the first thing that changed was at about 4:15 in the afternoon when I heard the sound of a plane. I remember telling Omar, I think I hear a plane. It sounded like a strange thing to say. And then unzipping the raft, looking up, and we actually saw a fixed-wing plane doing sort of circles around us.
Quite big circles, but it was there. Grab a flare, open the flare, and I tell Omar, come out, come out. I want the plane to see there's 2 of us waving at them.
And didn't show any sign that whether it had seen us or hadn't seen us. And what was going through my mind was, is it still rotating above us because it's seen us and it's trying to signal to a nearby vessel, or it's still trying to look for us?
After a while, we were fairly confident that it was circling. It's gonna be fine. We got back inside, we hugged each other. We're like, it's done, we're saved, it's over. Half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. We start to talk about, well, what if they didn't see us? What's the plan here? How does a plane even rescue people in a life raft? As we're thinking these thoughts, the plane disappears. And there's a moment of sheer panic. It goes from, oh, well, maybe they didn't see us, to 2 options.
Either the plane has found someone coming to our aid and that's why it decided to kind of leave, or most likely it's ran out of fuel and it's going back to refuel and it's going to be hours before it comes back, and who knows if it will find us again.
I think it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we got confirmation that the search and rescue plane had gone over the last known position of the beacons and had seen the vessel. And the vessel was upturned and they had sent a photo back, and we could see that the life raft was attached. However, at this point, there was no confirmation of sight of either of them.
It's been many years in the making
I think it's really relaxing.
for what is going to be the greatest adventure of our lives.
Can't see a plane, but I see the most beautiful sight in my life. A 200-meter glorious ship. It's about 50 meters high. It is humongous, heading straight at us.
I received a telephone call from MRC Las Palmas. They say there is ship, she need assistance. And I asked him what kind of assistance. They told me we don't know. Can you go this position? I checked the position was 50 miles from our ship, and it is 500 miles from Las Palmas.
The ship starts to get closer. We can read the writing on the side of the ship and says Kefaloni.
From the moment I got the call, I spent 4 hours to reach this position, but I cannot see the boat because really we have very rough sea.
A ship of that size will launch a rib or a lifeboat, a smaller vessel that will come to your aid. And so we were sitting there, all smiles, waiting for this vessel to come closer, and it's getting closer and closer, and there's no lifeboat.
Why aren't they deploying the rescue vessel? Why isn't the vessel coming?
I tried to rescue him by rescue boat, but I found after we lowered, I found it is dangerous for our crew for this. But I proceed slowly, slowly under the wind until we reached and we saw him and we sent some rope.
We didn't think that one through. How does a 200-meter ship catch a 2-by-2-meter life raft in extremely high seas with 10-meter waves without killing them, or at least seriously injuring them? And one of the hardest things when you're doing a rescue operation is when you can't talk. So you don't know what's going on. I'm not sure they know what they're doing. And they start to throw ropes at us. I thought it was a joke.
We send the rope when we are half a mile. We make small drifting and we stop engine. And when we are already a stop engine and they are already very close to us, about 5 meters, I send the rope. The waves very strong and he not listen to our instruction.
If this is plan A, what does plan B look like? The guy is throwing the rope, the wind is so strong, it's 45 knots, that's about 80, 85 kilometers an hour. He's throwing the rope is coming back at him again. He's trying to throw it down, it's not even reaching the surface of the water.
I felt confident. I said to myself, you know what? The sun is still out. We still have 2 hours. We can make it. No problem. We can make it, sure.
And then they got close to, very, very close to us, and then they miss us. So every time they miss us with a ship of that size, it takes about half an hour for that ship to reorient itself.
They kept on trying. They made over half a dozen attempts. One of the attempts, we succeeded at catching the rope. They said, tie the rope. We're like, no way. A 7-meter wave means it's 14 meters of displacement. If we tie it up here and it comes down and we dangle on the side of the boat, what's gonna happen then?
This ship weighs 35,000 tons, or about 200 kilos. If that ship just leans a little bit to the side, I don't even understand the physics of it. It's gonna throw us up in the air, or maybe the rope will come taut so strong that it would, tear the raft. It quickly turned from, we're gonna die in a few hours, or we're gonna die in a few days if things don't get any better, to we're gonna die in the next 20 seconds.
The boat makes another approach, and Omar's like, look, I'm going to tell them we don't need help. I said, fine. He opened, he stood out, and he said, we don't want any help. Thank you. We can try again tomorrow. We don't want the help. They're like, what do you mean you don't want help? We're like, it's nighttime. You're gonna kill us. We're ready tomorrow. They're like, we didn't sail all day to come here and kill you. You need to tie the rope. We're like, no. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, tomorrow. Zip shut.
We must save these people because actually there is no any other ship near to us to help him. Or helicopter, he not succeed because it is 500 miles, already lost his fuel to survive and cannot. It is only our ship, because when I asked MRC, he told me there is no any other ship for search and rescue.
And the next thing I felt or heard is screams and noise and a thump on the ceiling. And I'm like, what's going on out there?
We unzipped the raft, we look, and the ship had just maneuvered itself so close to us that the steel side of the ship was actually touching the raft.
We tried this maybe about 5 times, but always failed because the weather and his life raft is very light.
The vessel's a bulk carrier, so we're talking 220 foot up in the air from what is a 6-inch freeboard for the Omars, especially in a life raft from the ocean. So it would have felt like a 3-story house was coming towards them at probably great speed.
I look up and all I see is a sheet of metal. And the second officer, I will never forget his face, looks out over the ledge and throws another rope at me. And I catch it and he says, tie it, tie the rope. I look at Omar, and that approach was a perfect approach because they were blocking the waves from us. So although the sea was rough, the ocean was still angry, we were sort of protected. We looked at each other and we agreed, we gotta tie it. And they start to pull the whole life raft next to the boat, dragging the life raft to where there was a rope ladder. As they're dragging the life raft starts to collapse. It starts to close in. Water starts to go inside. I can feel the pressure. We're starting to sink. All of a sudden, my waist is in the water.
We're still looking at the guys and we don't understand what we need to do. They tell us guys need to climb the ladder. We look and at first we can't see the ladder. Omar wears contact lenses. He'd lost them. He's got minus 4.25 on one side. He can't even see the ladder. I couldn't see it at first, and then eventually the raft is sort of like inching on the side of the ship going backwards, and I can start to see the ladder. And as soon as I see the ladder, I realize that the ladder only goes down to about halfway down the ship. So I tell the guys, bring the ladder down, and then they respond and say, well, that's as far as it goes. I just quickly check to make sure that my legs are not tangled into anything, and then all of a sudden, I start to just really look at that ladder, and it's almost like my entire life just kind of led up to that one moment. I still don't understand how I'm going to get up it, but I look and I can see as the waves are crashing into the ship, the level of the water is going higher and lower. When it's high, you can just about hold the ladder, and when it's low, it's pretty far away. And the raft is moving quite quickly to the back of the ship. And so I understand that once I get under the ladder, I'm going to have to jump for it. I'm not going to be able to wait for a opportune moment. And so we get closer and closer, and I can feel like my heart racing, and I can feel that this is it. This is almost like my entire life is building up to that moment. I'm not tied to the raft, I'm not tied to the ship. If something happens, it's finished. I only get one chance at this.
And he summoned his strength and got up and grabbed the rope, and I'm sitting next to him. As the life raft starts to coast by the boat, I just see Omar leap and grab the ladder. And all I'm thinking is if this guy falls, 10 minutes is all he has. 10 minutes.
I get under the ladder, I jump, and I catch the second to last rung of the ladder. I'm flailing with my legs, trying to get a foothold in the bottom rung, but it's too close. They're too close to each other. I can't do that. I try and put my legs on the side of the ship. I can't, it's too slippery.
And it's swinging, and he's going out and banging back into the hull, going out and banging into the hull.
I'm getting very, very desperate. I can tell that I'm not going to be able to hold on for much longer. I start shouting and screaming at the guys. I can't hold on much longer. I'm slipping.
And the last thing that I saw, as I was getting sucked to the back of the boat, is Omar with the one arm, yelling, "I'm gonna let go, I'm gonna let go."
But then I remembered my daughter Tila. It was very clear to me at that point that I made a conscious choice to live, to keep going, and that it wasn't going to end in that way. The next rung was broken. It was just tilted to the side, and which meant that I had to reach for the one even higher than that. As this is happening, I hear them saying, "Slack, slack, slack," and they drop the rope a tiny bit. I look down. At this point, I don't see Omar anymore. The raft had already moved away. I can see under me just black, this foam, and then these just waves just crashing onto the side of the ship. Then I can see a wave hitting, and as it's coming a little bit higher, I look at it and I'm like, this is my last chance. And I just go for this one last run. It was very shaky, and so I was taking a lot of care and a lot of time to climb the ladder so I don't slip. I went up until I was about 1 or 2 steps from the deck. I could feel the people put their hands on my life jacket. I moved 1 step forward and I just threw myself over the side of the boat, and then I could feel them lifting me up and then putting me on the ground. Omar's still down there. And so I ran to the side of the ship, and I could see that he was still in the raft and he was being pulled towards the ladder.
I'm worried. The propellers, am I gonna get minced? And as I think about that, I get in a position where the life raft is getting pushed under the boat. So now my upper body is outside with the thing unzipped, looking out at the ocean. And my lower body can feel the pressure of the metal right against it through the life raft. And this is when my voice was primal.
He afraid, really. And he say, no, I will not come up. And I tell him, you must come. We cannot, we want to go, because really the waves start hit the vessel from the side and the ship rolling. And I cannot wait. He must really immediately. We don't have time to talk or discuss.
As this is happening, the second officer pops up again and throws another rope at me. I tie the rope as quickly as I can. They start to pull me. And as this is happening, I see a buoy, a circular buoy being thrown at me. I grab it. I take it, I look at it. I wear it. I make sure that nothing is entangled, that I don't want to get caught into something, and I just dive into the water.
I think he's panic, really. He's happy happy, and yes, he gets shocked, because really he cannot believe when he saw the waves very high and vessel rolling. He afraid, yes.
And I look up and I'm like, how am I going to go from here to that ladder? It is impossible. That ladder, even when the wave is all the way up, that ladder is another 1 to 2 meters higher than me.
And then we were there on deck, 8 men, including myself, just going 1, 2, 3.
Hop! The next thing you know, my body's outside of the water. And I'm starting to rappel up the boat. I'm rappelling up the boat. Every time they go 1, 2, I jump up, 1, 2, up. When I got to the top, they pulled me out, threw me onto the floor, came up, and I looked at Omar. He was sitting on a bench. I sat next to him, and my legs were just bouncing. And I go, look, Omar, look, my legs are just bouncing, and I can't stop them. We just hug, a massive bear hug, a massive bear hug. The feeling is extremely difficult to verbalize.
How that captain managed to maneuver this 35,000-ton vessel in pure pitch darkness to come and extract, this tiny little raft and not run us over, and persist to, those 19 crew members persist to make sure that we were safe was just, something I will never forget.
all crew, really, we are very, very happy. Cannot find word, really, to say what the feelings, yes.
It was the human connection. They saved us, and we felt that connection, that really strong connection.
I cannot tell you the relief when my boss called and said they'd found them and they were on board safely. I just burst into tears. To be able to confirm that they were on board this vessel was amazing.
After the rescue had been completed, we had joined the captain and the crew up on the bridge. The captain looked at me and said, "Listen, I'm gonna tell you something I haven't told my officer." And I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, on that last maneuver, the last time I came round, when it was getting dark, and when it had already gotten dark, and I knew that I had not been able to successfully pull you guys out when it was light. I went quickly into the comms room and I called my wife. And I told her I don't have time to explain everything that's going on, but I have, two souls in my hands. Their lives depend on me, and just pray for me. Please pray for me. And he hung up the phone. And it was emotional, for me to hear that, because I already knew that it was a grave situation, and I already knew that, these guys had done so much for us and had not given up on us.
I don't know how we succeed in dark. You cannot see your hand. Really, you have small like this and dark, very dark. And it means only God really help us to give him life again.
We wanted to use our experience, which is quite a unique experience of rowing across the Atlantic, to raise awareness about the plight of refugees crossing dangerous seas. Because we know that so many refugees lose their lives or get severely injured trying to make those journeys. We didn't know is how close our stories would become.
To be frank with you, my connection to it on an emotional level didn't exist at that point. But things have changed for me since the incident. Since the capsizing and entire survival experience, I have a much stronger emotional connection with the plight of refugees.
People who are forced to flee their homes due to persecution, due to conflict, have to make a perilous journey, and many times this has proven to be quite dangerous.
As a race organizer, somebody who deals with competitors in a race environment that choose to put themselves in this situation, I cannot imagine the desperate levels, the situation, the need to survive that anybody must feel to do it voluntarily because they have no other option.
We need to remember that many of the people making this trip haven't even seen sea to begin with. They have no expertise, no experience in guiding boats, driving boats, and this means that they are not ready to respond to turmoil in the sea in the middle of the ocean.
Yes, it is very dangerous, yes, to be in small boat crossing even Mediterranean.
How did I take a decision to put myself in such situation, my wife and my kid? I kept blaming myself. I kept all the way. From the point I get in the bus with the smugglers, I started to blame myself, what I did, what I have done.
Some of us didn't have like a choice to make. Some of us just had to go through, like myself. I didn't even know where I was crossing over, which country I was going, how safe I was going to be and everything, because I was trying to move away from danger.
Two days before I took the boat, I called my mother in Syria And I told her that because I needed to say that to someone that that I'm gonna be father, and no one knows about it. But I told her that Sarah is pregnant, and we're gonna take the boat. From the moment we jumped on the first boat from Alexandria, we had no other choices. Everyone was crying, yelling, everything. I can remember faces. I can't remember anything. I can't remember the smell because I keep remembering this smell on the boat. It was disgusting. We start to vomit immediately. We couldn't be able to talk. We couldn't be able to feel what's happening around us. We were just throwing up, and Sarah, she's doing the same. Couldn't communicate too much. The first night, it was very tough, very tough.
During the night was when so many things will happen, like the abuses and then the fight and so many things. When we reach certain points, certain people are just taken out of the ship. And then when you feel weak or you feel sick, they just throw you out in the sea.
We're very tired of just see all the blue around us, and there is no ground we can see above. The most thing that make us hopeless. We didn't drink clean water from 10 days. We drink water from the engine of the boat. I began to think about who's gonna die first. Is it me or Sarah or the baby? And Sarah got broken. She was just broken. And she began to cry. And she asked me to do something in the middle of the sea. And I couldn't. And I just hold her and I say just calm down. And we're gonna reach there. That's what I said to her.
The sea was not smooth, it was always moving. So there was a point in time when I wanted to just shift a little bit, and then the lady started shouting. And then the men just got angry. And then some of them were saying they should just take me off the boat. They should just throw me off the sea. And then there was fight on the boat just because of me. So I even had to beg to just calm down, because if it's going to continue this way, then I don't think all of us will survive.
I'd seen a boat coming in, and I was pointing towards where it should be landing, and all of a sudden I heard a big bang. A lot of screaming. The sounds that we could hear were incredible. They'll stay with me forever. And I looked out into the sea, and I could see the people had been spread over a large distance. And there were people screaming. You could hear mothers shouting their children's names. I ran down to the shoreline and dropped my coat on the floor, put my helmet on, and just started swimming out.
We left from Egypt 20th of July, 2014. We got rescued on the 31st of July. Morning, about 10 a.m. Yeah, we got rescued from Italian Coast Guards. I'll never forget this moment. I can everything's happening right now around me, this happening. The first thing I hold Sarah and I look in her eyes and I told her that I told you we're gonna make it. We couldn't make it mentally. So I think we made it physically.
I think when I compare my journey to the journey of refugees, I think it's completely different. I mean, yes, our journeys did intertwine for those 12 hours during the rescue. I think what we went through is something that was very, very dangerous, and maybe there's a lot of similarities there, but where we come from and how it all started is extremely different. I mean, we decided to do this by choice. We prepared, we had the best equipment. They have no choice. Most of the refugees are fleeing terrible situations back home. They don't want to leave, but they have to.
It took me a good 2 weeks to be able to get back home. But I cannot imagine if I have no home and my problems are just starting.
I've gone through so many dangers and struggles, but at the end of the day, you have to have faith and you have to be strong, because I've seen so many people who wanted to act tough and later they got killed. What I just want is, first, I just want to feel safe.
I was thinking about, like, I need to be with Sarah the rest of my life after this experience. No one will know about this except me and Sarah, and what we did to save our child and to come here. His name is Nour, because he saved us from the sea, and he's the only reason we keep, like, strong to continue this trip.
I firmly believe that it is the most important issue that we face in the world today, and the way that humanity chooses to react to this cause and how we deal with it will dictate the face of the planet for years to come.